So we'll move down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is your what, pop rock?
Yep, pop rock, Beatles, Allman Brothers. This is classic rock, pop rock, new older stuff, like Bon Jovi's in here, Pat Benatar, Beatles, obviously, like I said.
And you said you're implementing a system since this is something
Yeah.
brand new where you're doing labels.
Yeah, we're doing labels, barcodes, things of that nature to help us track the inventory and stuff when it comes in and out a little bit better. And we'll get that rolling here pretty soon. But yeah, this is
A lot of work to get all
yeah,
these labels.
there's a lot, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where we find most people are hanging out in this older section here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot for everybody.
So do you remember, now you never worked in a record store before, right?
Never
Did that. Do you remember like your first album that you sold? You ever did? Is that something that sticks in your head?
No, it doesn't.
That's a tough, yeah.
That is tough,
I've
yeah.
watched interviews and nobody can answer that
Yeah,
question.
that's tough. It's a tough one. Yeah, I can't remember.
I think the first one you bought, you remember. But
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it was, at that point, it was still kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like the first day of actually owning the store, it was
yeah.
just like, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah. So if somebody comes in here and they're going, I want to listen to something different.
Mhm.
Obviously, where do you go from there? Because you're like, where do you start digging?
Well, that's a good question. Because, there's that one section we've got over there where it's just like a mismatch of stuff. There's like world music in there.
Up here?
The one across from the soundtracks there. Yeah,
so like over here.
There's kids stuff and there's.
This guy's not camera shy. He's got. Now that he reminded me, because I just watched your video the other day. Very quick videos.
Yeah, I've been watching yours too, man.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
So you got like this mix. Okay. So you have comedy and things like that.
Yeah, it's just a real mishmash of stuff, and I call it the variety section because there's just all sorts of stuff.
Or the albums that wouldn't be released today. Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, there you go.
Any of these Cheech and Chong albums.
Yeah, Richard Pryor. That's always good.
Yeah.
I love comedy albums. I actually just got a Bill Hicks album. I'm pretty stoked to listen to it. I've already seen the visual part of it, but
yeah,
I'm pretty stoked to listen to it.
Would it get you, so do you start and go, okay, what do you listen to? Like if someone comes in, you go, okay, what do you normally listen to? Would you try to, see like if you point them in a jazz direction, would that be a little difficult for you to go? Or do you have like a top 5 you can go, hey, start here in jazz?
Well, I'm very new to jazz, so I always tell people Miles Davis, right?
Yeah,
But,
Kinda Blue, everybody goes to Kinda Blue.
Yeah, I'm a little out of my element in that regard, but our jazz section is phenomenal.
Yes.
We've got a lot of nice jazz stuff.
I try to stay away from that area.
Yeah, usually,
I like that.
yeah, usually people don't have a hard time finding jazz stuff, and they don't need my help.
I'm just going to kind of move around. And you got some cool 45s over here, I noticed.
Yep.
When people come in the store, can you kind of, actually we'll go up here. Let's check out this area.
Absolutely.
You don't see a lot of people up in here. I don't know if they...
I'm not sure. It's so overwhelming over there, and then we come here, it's just like, how?
Yeah. And so you have like your jazz wraps around there and then comes into your blues.
Yep.
And it's funny because John Mayall looks so much like Graham Nash now to me.
Oh my God, he does. Yeah. Kind of little Roger Waters too. It's like a hybrid.
Yeah. Then you go into what you're kind of like your soul, R&B, funk,
soul, R&B, all that. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit more of a mismatch. I got Lionel Richie and Donna Summers, Supremes. So it's kind of a mix. I call it the R&B, but I call it R&B, but again, it's funk and soul as well.
Okay. And then you get into your world music over
here.
there.
World music here. We've got some 12-inch singles and stuff. Got to box those up and put them out. But yeah, world music is pretty good. This is where we moved our reggae section. We used to keep it over there. Okay. World music. So some people.
When people come in the door, can you kind of size them up as to what they're going to go look for? Do you ever try to play that game of,
always.
Oh, they're going to be Beatles guys? Oh, no, they're heavy metal. Some people are very apparent.
Yep.
Are you pretty good at the game?
I'm getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting better. Well, obviously with the return customers, but you kind of, size them up a little bit and see what they may or may not be after. But I'm getting better at it.
Okay. And getting into like the prices of vinyl, obviously there's a huge demand, so that's allowed companies to pop up those prices. And I know in the beginning a lot of companies were going, oh, it's how to process it, to make them and things like that. And I think we're kind of, as a record buyer, we're kind of realizing I don't think that's the picture. Mm-hmm. I think you're able to raise the price because of the demand of the record.
Yep.
And I think the pandemic kind of changed things. because people were buying records more often and things, and I think that brought up the prices. Do you think with this revival, do you think the revival's still kind of strong as far as the record demand?
I think so.
It's piqued a lot of interest
Yep.
and things like that. Do you think that will still affect the cost? And does that affect you as a record store owner when they drive up those prices?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, you know, I love the fact that a lot of the artists are keeping some of the pressings under $30, which I think is that's that sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, once you get outside of the sweet spot, it's tough. And I think the demand will still be there, but I honestly think that people will be more inclined to start shopping used as opposed to the new. Because if it was me and I could get like a VG Plus or near mint of a used one for $20, I'd much rather spend that than to buy a new re-release of that copy. You know, I like the older pressings too myself, so that's just something personally.
Right.
But I think the demand is still going to be there, but I still think it's going to switch into more of a used base.
Okay. So they're gonna take the used over the new because you can lower costs and get more albums that way.
Yeah, I think the smarter people will just be a little bit more picky about what they buy.
Right. Has your higher end, like your acoustic sounds, MoFi, all that? Do you just have the regulars that come and get that of just your diehards?
Usually.
Do you think those will be affected by that? People going, I'm gonna go more used and not spend this money on this brand new MoFi that's $50 or whatever I forgot what they run. But.
Yeah, that's why I like to deal with the music on vinyl, higher end, like the pressings, because they're a little bit more reasonably priced.
High-end pressings with a lower price?
With a lower price,
okay.
Yeah, and those are my favorite. I love the music on vinyl.
I have some Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it sounds... all my music on vinyl. You're right, those prices are lower. I never even thought about it.
Yeah, you could get a really good copy of the music on vinyl for $40, and MoFi you're going $70, $80, sometimes over $100 depending.
Okay.
So,
yeah. And then when you have... How do you deal with like returns and stuff? From starting like at the customer base, but how do you deal with that? How do you come in and, I mean, I guess it could be a used return or something they just opened brand new and they go, oh, there's a defect or something.
Yeah.
So how do you
usually we'll take the records back, because it'll give us an opportunity to sell. But what I've been finding is a lot of times, like if people will bring in a skipped record, we'll play it on our record player and it'll play fine, and just try to show them, like, maybe your turntable isn't set up properly,
a little weight adjustment or something like that,
or whatever. Yeah, a little adjustment on the tone arm and stuff. But I mean, if it comes back and it's obviously got a gouge in it that we may have missed, or it's there's no questions asked, we'll take it back and we'll put it towards the store credit.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Do you get a lot of returns?
Some.
Is it a huge number, just like a low?
In my experience here, it's been pretty low. It hasn't been too big. But again, we try to work with the customers that way.
Yeah.
We don't really try to make it too much of a hassle because they're bringing it back for a reason.
Yeah.
But try to teach them something as well, because with the used stuff, maybe your turntable needs a new needle, or maybe you need to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't even know that.
Right.
And we've had a couple people come back and say, well, thank you for that tip. I didn't even know that. So.
Yeah, I didn't even know, when Pat was here before, I kept going, man, it just doesn't feel like my records have an oomph to them, like enough power. So I was trying to find an amplifier, do all this stuff. He goes, did you ever think about changing your needle? And I thought, maybe needles are, durability or something. I never thought about the difference a needle could make as far as sound. And I went one up in cost on a needle. So it's just little things like that where it's an opportunity to educate them, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Especially for the people that are just getting into it, right?
Yeah.
Like there's maintenance involved, and there's things you got to do upkeep if you want the best quality sound out of your system. Yeah.
Especially guys like me who grew up with vinyl. Now we're getting back into it. We just threw the freaking record on and played it, and that was it.
Yep.
We knew, we had these, cheap knockoff one unit systems where we had the turntable and everything built in. So we didn't put our time into it like we do with our records now.
I clean mine before and after every time I listen to it. I just brush them, back in the sleep.
It's a whole thing now.
Yep.
Is it hard to deal with returns as far as getting it back to, like if it's a newer record, getting it back to the manufacturer or the...
No, they're very good.
Yeah?
Yep.
They're very
no
good
questions asked.
It's not a manufacturer. So you have the company and you have distributor?
Distributor, yep.
So you deal with the distributor?
Distributor, yep.
And then, okay.
Yeah.
And then you deal with multiple distributors and things like
Yep.
that?
Yeah, we deal with well, half dozen or more.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to have a wide variety to pick from.
Now, do you have to, is that like a, see, I never thought about this, but is it a membership thing? Do you have to show, hey, I'm a legit record store? How do you kind of hook up with a distributor?
Well, two of the main ones, I was obviously with taking the business over, there was already account set up, so it was just kind of a matter of kind of getting that all switched over. But there are some independent ones where it's just like B2B business and just, pay as you go and that kind of thing. Whereas the other ones, they let you work on credit and, different terms of payment. But more so now, it seems that there's like independent distributors out there as opposed to the corporate ones. But the two main ones are the ones who deal with the record store day stuff. So that's very important because, that's, twice a year we have record store day here, and it's two of our biggest days.
Big demands.
Big demands, yeah.
We're going to get to the record store day stuff because that's a big thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
So yeah, that's very interesting. So here's another fun question. So ABBA,
Yes.
great or the greatest? I had to ask him this question just to throw.
ABBA's great.
I mean, the greatest band ever. Are they great or just the greatest band ever?
They're not the greatest band ever, but they are pretty great.
So record store day. So what are the pros and cons of record store day?
The pros is, like I was saying earlier, watching people come and get things like they've been waiting for, like those two young girls last year.
Yeah.
That just warmed my heart. They slept out since 9 o'clock the night before for the Taylor Swift and the 1970s.
They knew to sleep out, right?
Yep.
That's a warning to everybody, right?
And then watching your video and just watching them go over to the box and just like, she grabbed the record and she just had it like that. And so that is a huge pro. And I said that was one of the reasons why I absolutely love doing this.
The enthusiasm, just seeing people get what they want.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's a whole lead up to it, because weeks before there's like hundreds of records come in, we got to get it all sorted, all priced and put out, so there's a lot of prep work that goes into it. And
you only have so much space to do it here.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen you guys.
We get crammed in there for sure.
Yeah.
The pros, it gets more people to the store because we are the exclusive dealer in Clearwater of Record Store Day. So if you're coming to Clearwater for Record Store Day, you can only come here.
Oh, that's cool.
So that we have that exclusivity. Excuse me. So that's a huge pro. And again, we get people here that don't often come to the store, which is cool. So it opens up a whole new sort of demographic for us.
Yeah, you had people from Tampa and a little bit further out.
Yeah.
From what I remember and talked to out there. Yeah.
If I got any cons, it would just be trying to put together the list of what exactly we're going to bring in. And it's not necessarily a con in a sense. It's just really, it's stressful in a good way because we want to have something for everybody. That's one of our mantras here. We want to have a little bit for everybody.
Right.
And with Record Store, there's just so much that they put out, and you got to skim through it, and
you got to anticipate. Okay, what are people going to buy? You hear the rumors of what's going to sell big, and sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then people like yourself who are in the industry put out videos about the rumors and things. So there's some work that goes in for me where I watch the videos and see the commentators and the people who are putting out these videos and seeing what the talk is about. So it's a lot of research and it's a lot of work, but it's fun. I don't necessarily consider it work.
Okay. So a challenge.
It's a challenge. It's a fun challenge. It's a very fun challenge. Yeah.
Okay. So we covered kind of some of these. And I guess that's the same thing. What, like weekly? What do you decide? You see all these releases, and there's probably 75 almost every week that's coming out. How do you decide? Okay, these are the ones I'm going to order and get into the store.
That's a good question. Well, the restocks is pretty easy because we keep track of sales and we know what's selling. Obviously Taylor Swift, we got to get Taylor Swift in when we don't have it.
Yep,
that's a big seller. I don't know. It's just knowing the customers, I guess. Knowing what people are coming in for, what the genres are that people are looking for here.
So it's really just paying attention to what people are
moving.
asking for, what people are talking about.
Yeah, essentially.
Bring it in.
Yeah,
okay.
Like the summer was kind of dull for new releases. There were some pretty decent ones, but now we're starting to ramp up again. So it's getting a little more challenging now, no doubt.
Okay. And then the last question. So what is your goal for like the customer experience in your store? What's that goal of what you want them to, when they walk into this store, to bring them back? What do you want them to have? Like,
Well, that's
get out
always
of
the
it?
goal, is to try and bring them back.
Okay, I guess
That's
maybe I
that's
answered
the
it.
main goal. Yeah, that's the 100% goal,
Like
is
a,
to
a place to hang out,
Yep.
a place to
Yeah.
feel.
Yep. I always like to consider this like a safe space, you know, where people can come, be open about their music, have an experience, come back, shoot the breeze with us, things of that nature.
So
But yeah,
you
it's just to
come
bring
here-
them back.
I can come here anytime and talk about my ABBA records, and
Yeah,
you'll be
100%.
okay with it, and,
Yeah, it's art, dude. Like, I mean, no,
and put a smile on your face and say they're the best band
Yeah.
ever. Yeah.
you like what you like, and that's all that matters. And I mean, I think Dave Grohl even said that, like, don't listen to haters.
Right.
Like what you like.
Yeah, there's no guilty
love it.
pleasure.
None.
Right? That guilty
That's right.
pleasure thing, people are realizing, get rid of that term, because it's okay. You like it.
Yeah.
And why should you feel guilty about liking
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's art. I mean, it's art.
Yeah.
It's somebody's self-expression.
something? Exactly. So,
So,
cool.
okay.
Well, that was awesome.
that was
I
great.
think we got a lot out of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I want to thank Brad for letting me in here and having access to the store. Sometimes I feel like I'm one of the guys in here. Like,
Well, you are one of the guys.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is like the teenage dream come true of being able to hang out in a record store all the time.
Yep.
So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any comments, leave them below. And until next time, I hope you guys enjoy your music and you take care, all right? Bye.